Well, hi everyone, it's Marcus and welcome to more Zooming in the Jungle Room. I'm getting all the way over to Dublin today where I'm speaking to Danny O'Reilly. Danny O'Reilly is from the Coronas. Danny, how are you today?
I'm great, Marcus. It's very good to be on with you. Thank you for having me.
And look, I mean, obviously, the reason we're speaking is because you guys have got a lot of things going on at the moment. First of all, there's a brand new single out, which is called That's Exactly What Love Is, which is done with Gabrielle Alpin as well. We'll chat about that in a minute. There's an upcoming new album called Thoughts and Conversations. Sorry, Thoughts and Observations. My bad.
You got it.
So an Australian tour that's going to Melbourne, Sydney, Perth, skipping Adelaide, but maybe next time. But you know what? Us Adelaideans, we can just quickly zip over to Melbourne. It's not that hard. Danny,
Cool.
where do we start? Let's talk about the new single. That's
Sure.
Exactly What Love Is. What was the inspiration behind that?
It was sort of born out of this little room I'm sitting in right now. A couple of years ago, I started writing, and it's sort of about that end of a relationship, sort of, conversational, sort of dramatic stuff that us songwriters tend to write about. And I decided to write it from both people's perspectives, and it's something that I've never really done before. And in the initial demo, I sang the female part in a high, my falsetto voice, and but straight away when I wrote the song, I had a feeling that Gabrielle would be amazing if she featured on the track. And we had done a song with her before called Lost in the Thick of It that was on an album a couple of albums ago. And she's a friend of ours and she's so talented. And I remember I bumped into her at a festival in Ireland. Yes, it would have been September 2 years ago. So it was just after I wrote it. It was probably the first song I wrote for this album. And I bumped into her and I said it to her then. I go, I have this song. I think you'd be great to sing on it. And then yeah, so in January just this year, so it took over a year later, we got into studio and she came down and recorded with us in London, and she was amazing. And yeah, it's getting a great reaction. It's taken from the album, as you say, and we were very honored to have Gabrielle on it. Gabrielle's a really successful singer-songwriter in her own right and has had number ones in the UK and has toured all over the world. And as I say, we're lucky to call her a friend, and we're happy to have her on the song. So yeah, it's going really well, and we're excited about getting to play it live as well.
Brilliant. Gabrielle's not coming on tour.
No, no, but we have my sister Roisin, who's also a singer, a singer-songwriter as well. But she is sort of joined the Coronas live touring act. We're a three-piece. The Coronas. We have bass and drums and myself, and we've been together for years. But when we tour, we bring a big band. So we have a saxophone player and we have a piano player and backup vocalist who's my sister, and electric guitar player. So Roshan will be on tour with us in November, and I'd say she will do the female parts of the couple of songs. And she actually has her own dates in September in Australia as well. She's doing some smaller shows. She's doing her first solo tour there as well. So I wish I knew the dates, but I don't. But if anyone is a fan of Roisin, you can tell them to check her out. She's amazing. So she's doing some Australian dates herself in September.
Now this song, excuse me, forgive me.
No
This
worries.
song is the first song released off the new album, Thoughts and Observations. When is the album coming out?
Yeah, the album's coming out at the end of September, so 27th of September, and yeah, we're really excited now, just preparing for the release, and we've got a few things planned, and then we go on the road, and just before we go to Australia, we're going over to America to do a couple of shows, and then we've got a full European tour planned early next year. So it's a busy time. We started our own record label a couple of years ago as well. We were signed to Island Records and we lived in London, and that was fun. But for the last couple of albums, we've started our own label, and it's all going well. But when you find when you've got a release, there's a lot more work to do. So there's a lot of promo and a lot of press and a lot of things to get organized and music videos and yeah, all sorts of stuff, and that's not even talking about TikTok and all these crazy things that we have to start thinking about as well, which isn't our comfort zone. I'd say, we're a man band now. We've had a few albums, and TikTok wasn't a thing when we started. But yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I love all the promo and everything that comes around it, and then yeah. So 27th of September is answer to your question. Sorry for the long answer.
So in the chaos of, putting out a new album and, doing the world tour, do you still find time where your brain gets hit with inspiration for new music as well? Or do you put that part of you aside during this crazy period?
Yeah, I tend not to write too much when we're touring, when we're on the road. And a couple of years ago, I would have said to you, no, I don't write anything when we're busy with other things, or when we're touring, or when we're releasing music and busy. But just recently, I've started to find that I can do a little bit when I'm away, or when I have a day off, and uh, I can hone in on a few things. And I wrote a song on our recent tour of America. I brought my guitar into the hotel room on a day off, and I wrote a song, and I hadn't done that in a long time. And I think it's one of those things where you tell yourself, oh no, I can't be creative when I'm doing other things, but I didn't really try, so I think you have to sometimes put yourself in the position to give yourself an opportunity to be creative, even if you are busy doing other things, and even if it's only an hour or two you have free. And I think I'm learning that a bit more as I get older, and I'm I'm I suppose working a little bit harder in a way, but I'm just, yeah, I so not in answer to your question, not too much, but I will try and do little bits, maybe write some lyrics, maybe write some little bits on the guitar, and stuff that when I come home and I actually have time to sit down and work on new music, it's not a total blank page. Like, I'll have a couple of little ideas and little things that I sort of like the sound of, that are starting points.
What do you find when you're producing new music, writing new music, doing lyrics, all this stuff? What do you find your major source of inspiration comes from? Where is it?
Yeah, I think we always approach songs like it's about the song. We don't try and concentrate too much on the sonics or productions too much, and we take inspiration from everyday life. I've always been a very honest songwriter, and I've found the more honest I am about what I'm going through, and even the more specific about exactly what I'm going through, they're the songs that seems to relate more to people. So I learned that in the early days of the Coronas when we started the band, and it's worked for me so far. So I always just try and be honest, and it's about relationships, friendships. I often write about trying to be in a band, and trying to write good songs. And I remember when I was studying in school, I found a lot of like poets and writers wrote about the process of writing, and the struggle with trying to be creative. And that's definitely a topic that I lean into sometimes, and trying to be the best writer I can be, trying to a lot of self-improvement lyrics I've found in the last since I've turned 30. I'm writing about trying to be a better friend, a better brother, a better son, a better person, and that's something that I lean into a bit, and just, yeah, trying to work on myself, and yeah, everything, relationships, friendships, the band. I write about the band a lot as well, as I say. So yeah, it can be anything, but as I say, we're always honest songwriters, and just try and write lyrics that are often conversational, and not we would never really write about politics or anything heavy like that. And I think that's maybe just because I haven't got too much of an interest in that sort of thing.
Yep. Look, I mean, pretty much everything you just said there is summed up in the new album title, isn't it? Really,
Yeah,
thoughts and
exactly.
patience.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Back to the beginning. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys officially formed in about 2003. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's when we first played together. We were kids in school.
Yep.
So I think I always consider the band really started in 2007. That's when we first got into a studio and started doing some shows and stuff. But yeah, I mean, we've known each other since we were kids. Myself and Noxie, our bass player, our parents were best friends. And so we were friends growing up, and we were really small. And Connor, our drummer, went to school with us as well. So the three of us have been together for a long, long time, and I think that's key to our longevity. I mean, this is album 8 for us, which is incredible. It's hard to believe, and I think the key, as people ask, is the fact that we were sort of friends first, even really before we could play our instruments. We were friends, and we sort of went on this journey together, and and we still love each other, and we're still great friends. So, but yeah, the first album 2007. So we've been together a long time, and I'd say our first tour of Australia was probably 2010 or 11. Like, and we had such a ball. Like we couldn't believe that we were on tour and playing shows. And now they were a lot smaller now back then than what we are playing now. Thankfully we've sort of built up over the years. And the last Australian tour we got to play in the Enmore Theatre, and just amazing venues like this. And this time, we're coming back to play in Salinas in Coogee Bay, which is where all the Irish hang out, I've been told, in Sydney. And we're getting to Melbourne and Perth as well. So it's been fun to see it build in baby steps in Australia every time we go back. And as I say, the crowds are always great, and there's always a few Irish knocking around who have settled over there and want to come see an Irish band. And so yeah, we're really excited about it.
Well, it's going to be obviously November that the tour happens in Australia, which
Yeah.
is summer. You're going to love it. I don't know what the weather's like in Dublin at the moment,
Yeah.
but yeah, November is going to be hopefully getting nice and warm for you, which will be
Yeah,
wonderful.
absolutely. We can't wait. Yeah, we tend to tour Australia around that time of year, and this time it's late November as well. So yeah, hopefully it'll be beautiful, and we might have a couple of days off. I think we arrive into Melbourne a couple of days before our first show, and then we have a day in Perth after. So even though the gigs are over the weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, which is going to be, yeah, tiring enough with the early flights and getting the sound check and all that, but at least we have a couple of days either side to enjoy some weather. So, and by that stage in Ireland, it will be really cold and miserable here. So we always look forward to getting some sun to break up our winter.
Well, Danny, you might as well stay for Christmas. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely, no problem. Well, we'll come to Adelaide. We'll just pitch up a tent in your jungle room there, and
I
and
love it. Do it. And you know what? I'm going to make sure there's a show happening in Adelaide.
absolutely, no, we'd love
Hell or
it
high
to.
water.
Yeah, no, we would love to get back there. As I say, we played there one time a good few years ago, and we had a ball. Such a beautiful city. But yeah, hopefully we can make it happen next time. As I say, we just had a small window of a gap between America, and then when we come back and have shows in Dublin in December, early December. So we only got one weekend this time. But yeah, next time.
Seriously, tell me about Dublin. Is there something in the
Yeah.
water over there? Because the artists that come out of Dublin that are based in Dublin or move out of Dublin, whatever.
Mm.
We've got U2, we've got, Sinead O'Connor, Hot House Flowers, The Script, Boyzone even, um,
Yeah.
and Dolores, of course, from the Cranberries.
Yeah.
Some major artists that come out of Dublin. Do you find the music scene over in Dublin something that very much inspires you?
Absolutely. All of those acts you mentioned inspired me. I was a big fan of the Cranberries growing up, and
Oh,
there is a very vibrant. The first album I ever bought actually was the Cranberries. No need to argue, but there is a really vibrant music scene here, and even the new generation coming through. If you think about Dermot Kennedy's had an amazing few years, and Hosier, and there's so many acts coming through, and um it's just always been that way here. Like, I think Ireland as a country, we're very proud of our culture, and there's like a storytelling sort of tradition as well. And you could find a pub in Dublin, and there'd be someone singing in the corner, and they'll be really good. Like, the general standard of like pub singers and just musicians is quite high. Like, so that I think that makes people who do original music and do their own thing have to step up, and then and I think as a nation, like the Aussies, we're sort of liked more so than maybe some other countries. Like, I'll go on tour when we're in tour in America, for example. People will say, "Are you from England?" And I'll go, "No, no, we're Irish." And they go, "Oh, you see them extra happy, like, so we love that. I think we're sort of, and it's not just music as well. I think even in film as well, we're sort of given, yeah, I think we're welcomed, I think, and sort of appreciated because of what has gone before us. Um, but I mean, there's a lot of Aussie music that is amazing as well. I'm a big fan of Gang of Youths. Do you know them? They're
yeah.
one of my favorite bands. Yeah. So I hope one day when I'm in Australia that I might just bump into them and say hello and see if they would let us
I'll see if I can hook
open for them
you
at
up.
some stage.
Yeah.
Do, please. Yeah, David LePep, he's the singer. I'm obsessed with him. He's so good. So yeah, but yeah, Australia has some great actors and musicians too. But we are, I think, for a small country, we do punch above our weight, I'd say. Yeah.
I find that there's a massive connection between Ireland and with Australia as well.
Yeah,
find the fusion of music that can go back and forth between our two countries just incredible. We love the
absolutely.
love it. Now,
Yeah,
let me ask you, out of your like we said, the first album came out in 2007, which was Heroes or Ghosts.
yeah.
And right up to 2022's Time stopped, which was great. I mean, that was critically acclaimed, like major. What have you got a stand? I know they're all your children, but would you have a
Mm.
favorite album that you are most connected to out of the 7 albums you've had before this one?
Yeah, I think one of the last two probably either Time Stopped or the album just before that, True Love Waits, because that's when we started our own label and we just sort of took control. We sort of had a bit of a reset with the band. We'd moved back from London after signing to Island Records, and we were sort of like, okay, what now? And we sort of looked at the whole thing and started our own record label in Ireland, and really just refocused the whole thing and changed the band lineup a little bit. Our former guitar player Dave took some time out, and we sort of, instead of making the band smaller, we got more musicians in, and we just sort of, yeah, I think we just pivoted a little bit, and that album means a lot to me, and it did really well for us here in Ireland. And sort of, as you said, our first album, Here's Your Ghost, came out in 2007, and we were like a student band then, and we had a couple of songs about being in college, and we were sort of almost written off as just a party band, and I think we needed a bit of a shift. And when True Love Waits came out at the start of 2020, it was, it sort of just shifted us a bit, and we became a little bit more critically acclaimed. But not the critically acclaimed doesn't really bother me, whether we're panned or whether we're acclaimed. It was more the reaction from people. And then unfortunately, right at that time, then that unfortunately named virus just hit and scuppered all our plans for a couple of years. But thankfully we've been around long enough, and when things got back to normal, we the crowd were still there, and we've been so lucky. Like, I mean, we just came back from an American tour. We've been touring for the last 2 years, and we have a very nice balance as well. We tour, but when we're home, we have some time off and we can work on things. And our bass player Noxie has two small kids now, and our drummer has a daughter now who's just 1.5, and we have the balance well. We can tour and we can work on our music and we're in control of it, but we're not gone 11 months of the year, like, and we have a balance that works for us, and thankfully, touch wood, we're still selling tickets, and we still get to do very well in Ireland here, and make a career out of it. And yeah, we're in a good place, Marcus, and it's all really good. So yes, all the albums I'm very proud of,
Oh,
but that
very
one in particular. But I'm always excited about the new ones, and I'm excited about getting the new album out in September, and getting to play some of those songs. But when we play live, we play a mixture of old and new, and try and play a little bit of everything, because oftentimes you'll find that, like, sometimes, say for example, when we go to Australia, maybe there's some Irish there who emigrated after our first couple albums came out, and they know the older stuff more. But then when we go to America, for example, they would only know our last couple of albums, because they're the two that have sort of started to connect a little bit more in America, and they won't know the earlier stuff. So we have a lot of fun making set lists different for each show.
keeps it spicy for you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Keeps it interesting, and different size venues, and trying to pick the right songs. Sometimes a song will work at a big venue, if there's a big crowd there, it's a big loud song. But if you played it in a smaller club or whatever, it might just be a bit too much. And then we could play some quieter songs or whatever. So yeah, we love that. That's it's something that we get excited about, and crafting the set list and picking it.
Brilliant. Um, Danny, You are just an absolute pleasure to talk to. Great energy, great vibes. I wish you all the best.
Likewise.
Upcoming new album, September the 27th, which is Thoughts and Observations. I just want to say, everyone, Danny O'Reilly from the Coronas, make sure you get onto the tour. Make sure you get the new single happening in your ears. Get out and, you know, support the new album when it comes out. And Danny, all the best for an incredible end of the year for you with that tour.
Thank you very much, Marcus. And likewise, you have a great energy. Best of luck with the show. And we'll see you very soon. Nice to talk to you.
Thanks so much, my friend. Bye, Danny.
Cheers. Have a good one. Cheers.